to go over platform-specific API calls. We need that because Xamarian does not have sound. So we have to go to the specific platforms to get sound. But in the meantime, we're going to work on a little example to get the versions of the device. So let's get started. Let's call this display platform info. Okay, I'm going to create it, and this time I'm going to create both iOS and Android. And we're going to do this by modifying basically modifying all three of the projects, the main one plus the two Android and iOS one. First thing we're going to do after it loads up for us is we're going to create the XAML page or edit it. Because no matter what version you would use, they use the same one. And I want to have my startup program as the iOS. Okay, is this coming up? It's trying to pair, so that's okay. Let's go ahead and pull up the main page. And let's get started. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at the display while we're working, and if it gives me an error, we just won't look at it. For the first stack layout, let's give it a padding of 20. And then inside that, we're going to create another stack layout. And you have vertical options of center and expand. Close that off. We're going to give it a label. With a text of device model. And that's all we need for that. And then we're going to have a content view with a padding of 50, 0, 0, 0. And it's going to have a label inside that. And this one's going to have a name so we can reference it. And we'll be model, label. I'm going to do the font size of large and font attributes of bold. And then we can close that off. And then we can copy this into another one for the version label. So this text is going to say operating system version. And the label name is going to be version label. Okay, so that's all we need for that. And the next thing we're going to do, we're going to create a interface file. In this main project. Let's right click. You could just do a plain class if you wanted to, but they do have an interface section, so we'll just use that one. So let's create an interface. Uh-oh, I don't want that name, so I'm going to delete it and we're going to create a new one. Delete. Let's do it again. And I'm going to call this platform or iPlatform info. I'm going to add that. And we're going to make this public. Save it. And it's going to have two methods inside of it. One called get model and one called get version. That's all we have to do for this one. Next, we're going to go into the ILS one, and we're going to create a new class. And we're going to name that class just Platform Info. We're going to do the same thing for the Android project too. And I'm going to give you these projects, so don't worry about forgetting it. We need to add up here in the usings the Xamarian.Forms. And another thing that's important we have to add is this assembly information. It's assembly and a colon, and it's dependency, and there's a type of, and we want the namespace of this file. The first, but it's not going to work unless we make this public. So this next one is the namespace, like displayinfo.ios, display platform os dot platform info. So that's all we put here. And what we're going to need is a get model and a get version method that returns a string, okay? They have to be public. Right, for now I'm just putting a placeholder there. Okay. But we need to do something with that. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have errors or anything. So let's create a variable called device, which is a UI device. And this is specific to iOS. So now that we've got that, we can return the device model dot toString. And then on the get version, we're going to have device system name plus a space plus a device dot system version. Okay. And string. We could use a string format if we wanted to, but we don't have to. So let's just leave it like this. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing, but a little bit different for the Android. So let's come over here to your Android project, right click, add a class, and we can name it the same name as the other one, platform info. So we've got a system and we need to add Xamarian.Forms. And before we get to the namespace, let's add that assembly in the dependency. And it's type of display platform info.droid dot platform info. And we need to make this public. And let's go ahead and create our placeholders. You see these get model and get version, it's the same thing that we had in the interface. Okay, so now that we've got our placeholders, we can go ahead and return it. Say return build manufacturer, and this is specific to an Android. And build model. Let's just go ahead and do T-string. Now in the version, we are going to return build version release T-string. Okay, so that's about all we need for that. The next thing we need to do is we need to edit our, let me get to the right note page, our content page. So let's go over here to our main page. We want the .cs code. So we've got our namespace of display platform info. We've got our public partial content page. We initialize the component, and then after that, we're going to iPlatform info, that interface we created, and call it platform info equals dependency service dot get platform info. Now we fill the label data. Say model label text, and it's going to be this platform info get model. And the version label text equals the platform get version. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to rebuild the project to make sure everything's there and to make sure there's not any errors. Let's pull up error list. We got a few warnings, that's okay. And now it looks like it's built, so we're going to run it on the iPhone. Whenever I done this before, and whenever I wanted to run it on the Android, I had to close it out, and I had to come over here to the project build and clean the solution and restart it. So I don't think we're going to run the Android. I do have a picture that I saved in snippet, and so this is what the Android looked like when I did it on my test programs. I don't mind doing it. I'm just afraid you guys don't want to wait just to see it and if I got the snippet, and you can run it on the Android yourself, because if you're using Android, then you're just doing that all the time. But on a cross-platform app, you would need to be able to do them all. So this might be a little bit bigger program than some of them we've done. And so the next program, the next lesson, we're going to try to add sound to our Monkey Tap app. Are you coming up? Uh-oh. Get model. Let me put this on hold for a second and see what I did, alrighty? Okay, I'm back. I'm cleaning the solution. I thought that's all I needed to do, but I see what I forgot to do. I did not implement this I. May make me wait till it's finished. This I platform info. And I need to also do that on the Android one. Okay. So it's cleaning it. Now we're going to just rebuild the solution. While it's building, it takes a second, so I'm going to pause it again, and then we're going to run it, and we'll see how that works. Okay, I'm back. I started it running again, so let's see what it does for us. Yeah, I put a break in here this time. I'm going to hit F, continue, and continue. It didn't break. It was because I had not implemented that. So every little thing matters. So here's the iOS one, and here's what the Android looked like on the Android emulator. So this lesson was a lot of typing, but it's something we really need to do because, for instance, you're going to want sound in your apps, and there's going to be other things in your apps that you're going to need. So we had to be able to get to those specific APIs, and so I will see you the next lesson when we'll work on some sound.